Om Sahana Vavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvina Vaditamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om peace, peace, peace. May the Divine Being look over us lovingly as a mother and father. May the Divine Being support and nourish us as a mother and father. May we have the strength and skill to study together the art of spirituality. May no misunderstandings arise amongst us. Om, peace, peace, peace and beneficence be unto us and to all beloved beings everywhere. Well, good morning and namaste, everyone. Welcome to our Sunday morning talk and discussion. This morning, we'll be talking about Advaita Vedanta. So just before we begin, we'll have just a couple of announcements. Next Sunday, January 22nd, we will celebrate the birthdays of Swami Vivekananda and Swami Brahmananda, Swamiji and Raja Maharaj. Their Gregorian calendar birthdays are January 12th and January 21st, respectively. But it was auspicious this year for Aditya Chaturvedi to be our pujari on January 22nd. So he will do that. No in-person attendance at the puja, but it will be fully available on Zoom. So you just click on the Sundays and special events link, and that's what you'll see, that we have a puja rather than a talk on that day. The other announcement is that the shrine is open every day for your personal use. The idea is that if you come and there are other people there, you would wear a mask. Otherwise, you needn't be masked. But from approximately 8 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night, the shrine is open. If you wish to have a personal meeting with me, a discussion, that is arranged by appointment. So if you don't have my cell phone number, the best thing to do is just email me. So are there any other announcements that I might have made that I did not make? Anything that anyone can think of that I should have said that I didn't? All right, dears. I'm going to open with our caveat. Please understand that what is said this morning is not personal instruction to you. That's not what we're doing here. We're discussing principles and practices of Advaita Vedanta this morning. January is a month for the study of Advaita Vedanta, or Jnana Yoga. So anything that is useful to you from what is said, please take it and make use of it. Otherwise, please don't feel that there's any imposition or dogma or anything of the kind, that you should be doing anything. That's not the point at all. This is simply an opportunity for us to discuss what the Jnana Yogi does in a particular way that you'll see as this talk develops this morning. So before I go on, are there any comments or questions at all based on what has been said, or anything else that you might want to bring up? Okay, please understand that this is, though it is a talk, it is also a class. So don't feel at all shy to interrupt with your own comments from your own wisdom and experience, or any concern or question that you might have that might want some clarification. This is the way we study together the art of spirituality.
Shankara?
Yes, dear.
Excuse me, I just want to say I'm so glad you're here, and I'm glad you're feeling better.
Well, thank you, dear. We can all celebrate that, yes, indeed. I am indeed feeling better, and I'm glad I'm here as well. So thank you, Lori. That was very sweet. All right. January is a month for study of Jnana Yoga, Advaita Vedanta. As a Jnana yogi, you practice discrimination, reason, discernment, and satyagraha, insistence on truth. Satyagraha, very important to the Jnana yogi. The goal is freedom from limitation, moksha. Our teachers say that all miseries in life are caused by seeing inaccurately. All our miseries in life are caused by seeing inaccurately. An earnest and persistent jnani may break through this misapprehension, called Maya, and see only the divine presence everywhere, in everything and everyone, which is the goal. This is seeing Brahman, or the Atman. This is seeing the divine presence everywhere, in everything, and in every one, and in every action. So that's a brief summary of Advaita Vedanta, or Jnana Yoga. This morning's talk is titled Letter to John Doe. As you'll see, there's a reason for this. Someone asked me a question. I answered the question in the form of a letter, and then published that in American Vedantist magazine. But I didn't want to embarrass the person by using their name, so I just called it John Doe. This is a brief, just a summary of what's in the letter. TAT TVAM ASI, that thou art, one of the four great sayings or mahavakyas of Sanatana Dharma, which is the proper name for Hinduism. TAT TVAM ASI, that being the divine presence, Brahman, that thou art, your inner nature is that thou art. You would say it to yourself as AHAM BRAHMASMI, I am Brahman. Anything else that splatters itself across the windscreen of your awareness is a distraction from that, and nothing more. Anything that distracts you from that truth, Aham Brahmasmi, I am Brahman, is nothing more than that. It is a distraction. Furthermore, each of your distractions is intentional as it arises. You project it or allow it, so you won't be aware of the truth at that moment. So what to do? How to live the adventure of our distractions and our inability to allow ourselves to focus on the truth. Here's a remarkable answer from the poet and spiritual philosopher Rainier Maria Rilke. It's titled Morning Meditation. Have patience with everything unresolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Do not search for the answers, which could not be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live. The point is to live the questions. Hang on, I'm trying to turn a page. And the point is to live these. And the point is to live these. Live the questions now. Perhaps then someday, far in the future, perhaps then someday, far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answers. Perhaps then someday, far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answers. Now, this is a very potent last sentence. As Sri Krishna points out in Bhagavad Gita, this is the realm of action. We live our way into understanding. We don't think our way into it. Yes, thinking is necessary, but we live our way. We act our way into the answers. And that poem is from Rilke's Book of Hours. This morning we will expand on and discuss these ideas and how they challenge us. How do they challenge us? So before I go on and read the entire letter and then go back and discuss it piece by piece, is there anything that you would like to say? Any comment? Any question? Any concern that this raises for you that you might like to discuss? And remember, we are a congregation that is doing this together, studying the art of spirituality together. So if you share yourself, others will be glad. Others will be, they want to hear from you. Anything at all from anyone?
Okay, I'll go. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can, Tom.
So what this relates to in my life, specifically this morning, I got up and I started meditating. Not meditating cross-legged on the floor, because that's difficult for me, but meditating in my easy chair and just following my breath. And the instructions I'm working with now are just to be curious about everything. Like whatever comes up, just pay attention to that.
Yes.
And so one of the things that kept coming up was the desire to get up out of meditation, specifically to get something to eat. The strongest one was to turn on my computer. I think that's really addictive. To telephone people, and then just various irritating states that I knew would go away if I just stopped meditating and got up and did something else. But if I just paid attention to each of those things as they came up, if I was just curious about my strong desire to get up and turn on the computer, or the very unpleasant feeling that came up that I knew that would go away if I stopped meditating, if I would just pay attention to those things rather than to try to resist them or push them away, I was able to just sit there and meditate until about the last 5 minutes, and then I did turn on the computer because I'm not. But anyway, I managed to make it from about 8:30 to just before we started here. So good for me.
Well, good for you indeed. Good for you indeed. And this is exactly what we'll discuss in a moment. We all have our favorite distractions, and when they occur, the best thing to do is simply be curious about them, to simply be aware of them, and say, that's an interesting habit that I have of thinking this way, of behaving this way. Is it auspicious for me? Is it good for me? Does it resolve anything at all? But, as we'll also discuss, the way we are is the way we are at this moment, and it's the product of everything that's ever happened to us. And so we have a choice of that insistence on truth that changes our point of view and therefore allows us slowly to change our actions. Thank you, Tom, as always, for sharing being so vulnerable and being willing to share yourself. Anything else from anyone?
Shankara. Oh, go ahead, Rajiv.
No,
Go
carry
ahead,
on.
Raj.
Yeah, so I can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
So I found that this insistent on truth, like when I'm meditating and whatever I'm meditating on in the center of my consciousness, I think that's the truth. So often when my mind wanders, I tell myself insist on truth in very forceful manner and try to focus my attention there. I don't know if it's going to help everybody else.
Well, just the fact that you do that and you found it rewarding, of course, that's good information for everyone else. Yes, wonderful. Thank you, Rajiv, for sharing. Yes, insistence on truth when we find ourselves distracted, not to push away the distraction, not to repress it, but simply to replace it. Simply to replace it in our awareness by an insistence on a higher truth. This is part of Patanjali's workbook for how to move forward. And he calls it replacing the lower samskaras of our habitual way of thinking and being, replacing those lower samskaras or mental impressions with higher ones. And of course, if we're going to replace them, we have to insist on them over time. Insist that this is a higher truth. And then see if we can't live into, as Rilke says, live into that higher truth without trying to answer the question. So Haima, you had something also?
Yes, Brother Shankara, along with what you all of you said, I just wanted to add this. Many times you reminded us, question yourself, what deserves my attention? And
Yes.
we need to answer that throughout our life, throughout our meditation. And then what I try to do is get back my mantra and then get my attention back to the Atma, where the divine is residing in me. I just wanted to add that little one more thing.
Perfect, indeed. What
We
deserves
are,
my attention?
yes, mind wanders all the time. It
Oh,
just keeps on
yes.
wandering.
It's
And
the
then we just
nature. It's the
yes.
nature of the mind. Nothing
Yeah.
to be alarmed about. Nothing to be concerned about. It's the nature of the mind to wander.
Pull our
We
mantra.
do our best to recollect it.
Thank you.
Well, I like what I do, and when that comes up, is I offer it to God.
Good.
With,
Yes.
With my left hand, I offer it to God, and then when I finish with that, I asked Him to give me something better that I can use, something that He wants me to have.
There you go. Well, this is that devotional relationship with God that allows you to do this, Robert. And it is so precious. And it is what Sri Ramakrishna recommends for this age, this devotional relationship with God, where we offer everything to the divine presence. This is called Bhakti Yoga and Karma Yoga together. You offer everything to the divine presence. And as you say, What is it that you would have me do or be or think instead of these things that I know are less deserving of my attention? Perfect, Robert. Thank you so much.
Brother Gaurav here.
Yes, Gaurav.
Yeah, so this is what I do. While in meditation, you're getting distracted, different thoughts are coming in. I try to concentrate on the words that I am kind of the chants that I'm trying to do. In case it's like mother is what I'm reaching out to. So I try to concentrate on those words, and
Yes.
it tends to bring me back to, no matter how tired
Yes.
I am or how distracted I am, it tends to bring me back to my course.
Exactly. This is exactly what Sri Chaitanya says. In each and every name, thy power resides. So if you're chanting a name, and this, when you, in each and every name, your power resides, all of it. So that name is tremendously powerful and has the ability to inherently change the vibratory nature of our being, which is what we are. We're beings made of vibration, like all of universe. So those names have a different and higher vibration, and so they inherently change the very cells of our bodies. Thank you, Gaurav. That's just exactly right. Anything else from anyone?
Brother, this is,
Oh, sorry.
sorry.
Somebody
This,
go first.
Who is that?
this is
Matt?
Matt. Is it, do you mind, Cindy?
Go ahead, Cindy.
So I'm,
No, who else is, who
Oh,
else?
Matt. No, I'm sorry. I was muted. Matt, go ahead.
okay, thank you. I'm new here, so greetings to all.
Well, welcome, Matt.
Thank you. Yeah, I was just thinking, last night I took my son out for a few minutes and we just went out on a little excursion, and a truck passed us. We were at the red light. So this big truck came near, and it's hard for me to believe that a truck could be that big. It was massive, gilded, noisy machine, and it had one of those exhaust pipes that purposely blows smoke out.
Oh my.
Like dark billowing clouds of smoke. You know, people do this on purpose. And so
Yes.
as it took off, my car was engulfed in smoke.
Oh
And
my.
my son has asthma, and I participated yesterday in the conversation on Patanjali, and I just thought to myself, it's one thing to think about the divine Atman in all of us, but at that moment, it was a little bit challenging to think that the driver of that truck bore the divine Atman. You know, I was sort of just laughing about it, but I was just thinking, this is pretty challenging. This is a truth that I can think I know intellectually, but to put it into practice is challenging. It feels like a really good challenge.
And I'm glad you welcome it that way, Matt, because, and it is a challenge. Life in this realm, particularly now in this age, this realm of intense darkness as well as intense light, but intense darkness. And we encounter such beings that are deliberately harmful to others. Very hard to imagine, very hard to hold in our awareness that this is also the divine being. Very difficult.
I was glad to have been with all of you yesterday. That was helpful.
And welcome, 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 Matt. And thank you for sharing yourself with us. And all blessings to your son. I also have asthma from childhood, and it is a very challenging condition.
Brother, can I say something?
Hold on just a moment, Gaurav.
Yes,
I think Cindy
yes.
wanted to
Cindy,
say.
yes.
Yeah, thanks, Garb. I'm glad that I'm glad you brought up what you did, because it was really what was on my mind too, that it's one thing to, deal in our different ways with distractions while we're meditating, or in our, sort of controlled space in which most of us meditate. And it's another thing to be out there in the world and applying these things. And I had that experience last night because I was in a very crowded group of people. It was an event, but I was there for a number of hours, and I just noticed myself, a lot of this is just noticing, being willing to notice when we're feeling something contrary to what we think, like, I'm not being a very good yogi right now, but I found myself like being irritated with a couple of people about something, and it was pretty minor, but instead of just fuming about my irritation of what they were doing, I caught myself, because that's part of my practice. It's been for decades, just seeing what I'm doing and then going, okay, well, you know, we're all in this together. They're not separate from me. And
Not.
and then I cooled off, and then they actually changed their behavior without anybody saying anything to them. So anyway, just to say, yeah, it's out there in the world trying to put these things into practice, that it is a challenge. I think it's a worthwhile one.
Indeed it is. Thank you, Cindy. Gaurav, something more?
Yes. I was going to kind of the incident that the gentleman had with the truck driver and the smoke stuff, and it comes back to that same thing that like Christ had said, like you have to embrace the world as if it's your own child. I think putting that into practice is the biggest thing.
Well, it is certainly one of the big things. Yeah, it's
not
all
easy.
as all of what Christ said can be subsumed into his statement: "Seek ye first the kingdom of God, and
Yeah.
all else shall be added unto you, all wisdom and all righteousness." If you come to the kingdom, and if you come to the king, the king gives you all of this. But the kingdom is not easy to enter.
I think so. And I think having a third person view, like Cindy just said, like she kind of saw what's going on and that reduced it. I think that is where you try to kind of remove yourself from that situation spiritually and see what you're doing or what's going on. I think that helps getting there. Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
Brother, you mentioned in this age there is intense darkness and also intense light. Can you talk about the intense light part of it?
Well, look at what has happened since Sri Ramakrishna and Holy Mother entered the world. The world has changed so much. I would not be alive today. Literally, I would not be alive today without modern medicine. I have been the beneficiary of an intense amount of modern medicine over the last 2 weeks. I've been in the hospital a couple of times and so on. If it weren't for this modern medicine, I would no longer be with us. And that's just one tiny example. If you look around, there is so much advancement. We see the golden age dawning in all these advancements. Of course, they are not the golden age themselves. They are just portents. They are just signals to us about the brilliance that is emerging and what it is producing in human beings. It produces, the darkness produces one kind of behavior in human beings. The brilliant light produces another. If you take a look at the James Webb Telescope, this new telescope that's in the sky 1 million miles from Earth, taking pictures that are overturning physics and astrophysics, and calling into question all these ideas that have been had. this was the germ for that was born in 1985. It was launched just this last year, and it is a brilliant example of this light of cooperation, of brilliant scientific thinking and minds, and it will advance human knowledge. Now, human knowledge is only one tiny part of the equation, no doubt, but it's an example of the brilliance that I'm talking about. Also, we see that there is a great deal of intense spiritual activity going on around the world. And the Catholic Church is transforming itself. Many of the Protestant religions are transforming themselves. Certainly, Sanatana Dharma or Hinduism is transforming itself and becoming more robust. And all of this is part of the brilliance.
Brother, I feel that as well. Like I remember, like many years back, I was born in India, and the ordinary people, especially the youth, would be sort of hesitant to do anything with spirituality or religion, and would think about it as humbug. But now a very large part of the youth as well, and every modern thinking youth are now turning to spirituality, and they are absolutely like unapologetic and on the face, to when it comes to ridicule. If they face ridicule by materialists, they are just unapologetic about it. They don't feel shy.
Good, good. That's excellent. That's the way it should be. That's the way Swami Vivekananda said they should be. Nerves of iron, muscles of steel. Pay no attention to the dogs barking at you. So, shall we move on? All right. I'm going to read the entire letter, and then we'll come back to it. It's not long, so we'll just read this. Dear John Doe, Namaste. A friend told me that you want to hear only the highest truth. Well and good. From here it is this. TAT TVAM ASI, that thou art. You would say it to yourself as AHAM BRAHMASMI, I am Brahman. Anything else that splatters itself across the windscreen of your awareness is a distraction from that truth, nothing more. Furthermore, each of our distractions is intentional, and it arises as it arises. It is intentional as it arises. You project it or allow it, so you won't be aware of the truth at that moment. You do this because you like it. You are in the habit of being distracted. Each one of us has our favorite distractions: anger, judgment, lust, acquisitiveness, vanity, and their numberless compounds of sufferings and enjoyment. Whichever works in any given instant to keep the reality at arm's length. Is this inherently a bad thing? No. All but the illumined teachers are co-conspirators in the creation of this shared universe. Why? Well, as Swami Sarvapriyananda answered when he said, why is it that the divine presence does this in the form of human beings project and create this universe? He says, because it can. Because it can. There is no other answer. Our limited human minds do not know anything more than because it can. But interesting, Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor and philosopher, put it this way: it loves to happen. we love it to happen. It loves to happen. That is not true. Yet thou lovest the play of being many. The moment thou art truly, profoundly, the moment you are truly, profoundly aware that this is what thou art, this is what thou art up to, the game is over. John Doe as a personality in this action and experience game, this action and experience suit, this jiva, will be out of the game. Jivan mukta, free while alive. Your body may live a little longer, but it is said, as it is said, but not as a player. We are told by the illumined that at some point, each of us will awaken from this dream of limitation and be in our limitless freedom and the adventure that brought us to it. Until then, what to do? How to live this as an adventure? And here again is that remarkable answer from Rainier Maria Rilke, titled Morning Meditation. Have patience with everything unresolved in your heart, and try to love the questions themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Do not search for the answers, which could not be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then someday, far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer. And that's from his Book of Hours. So that's the letter to John Doe. We do this because we want to. We live the way we live because it distracts us from the truth. Why do we want to be distracted from the truth? So that we can play this game. So how to play this game the best way? How to live this game the best way? So what is the answer? Rainier Maria Rilke says, love the questions. Love the adventure. Don't press yourself for the answers, because you wouldn't be able to understand even if the divine presence offered them to you now. Just live the adventure. So this is the truth. TAT TVAM ASI, that thou art, or AHAM BRAHMASMI, I am Brahman. I am that infinite, indefinable, changeless, and eternal being. That is my true inner nature. But for whatever reason, because I can, because I as that divine being can, we play this game. Why? Because we love it. It loves to happen. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. You are not in any way wrong because you are not realized an illumined soul. As Sri Ramakrishna said, it will all happen at exactly the right time. Mother herself, Mother being that divine feminine presence that is the mistress of this universe, as it says in the Chandi, that the hymns of praise to the Divine Mother. O Mother, thou art the all-pervading Devi. Thou art the all-pervading Devi, who presides over the senses of all beings and governs all the elements. And so Sri Ramakrishna says, when she, who offers us both enjoyment and liberation, when she is ready, she will turn the key in the lock, and you will be free. In the meantime, how to live this adventure, replacing the lower truth with the higher truth as best we can, living the adventure, living the questions. So anything from anyone about your reaction to all this and what it is?
Yeah, could you repeat what Marcus Aurelius said? The Roman
Yes.
emperor?
It loves to happen.
It loves to happen. Okay.
Yeah. Marcus Aurelius, by the way, is any serious student of spirituality. Marcus Aurelius is worth your attention. He was a truly remarkable human being. He was a Roman emperor and wrote most of what he wrote out on the battlefield, keeping the barbarians with his army, keeping the barbarians from invading Rome. And this was an emperor of Rome who was obviously very, very skilled at contemplation, concentration, and meditation. You can find books about him online, about what he said. Anything at all else from anyone?
Shankara?
Yes, dear.
I think Jerry told me that Marcus Aurelius was out there among the battles when he wrote his meditations.
That's exactly it.
Is that right?
That's right. He was on the battlefield when he wrote his meditations. And this is what you'll find the title of Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. Thank you, Laura. Yes, that's true.
Do you think he was a realized man?
Oh, there's no way for me to know, Rajiv. Certainly, he wrote as someone who was very far advanced in spiritual life, but it's impossible for us to know. But you can certainly profit from reading what he said, because he was really, talk about involved in the struggle of life, the great adventure of defending Rome from the barbarians that were trying to, come into the Roman Empire and sack and pillage it, which they did from time to time. So, in any event, one just has to stand in awe of such a man who can, in the midst of this real great struggle, never feel sorry for himself or for what's going on for one moment, not simply reflect on what's going on and its significance spiritually. And so this is the Meditations of Marcus Aurelius. And one of the things that is just so brilliant that he said is, it loves to happen.
It's interesting that Rome could get an emperor who was such an advanced spiritual soul, and then later get an emperor like Caligula, who was kind of an asura.
Well, isn't it just the way things go? If you read Gibbon's The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire, I think that's the author. But the book is titled The Decline and Fall of the Roman Empire. It speaks about just what you said, the fact that they soared to the greatest heights, to the highest heights, and then fell to the lowest depths.
brother, there's just to offer this, there's a very good book about him called How to Think Like a Roman Emperor.
Uh-huh.
And it's specifically focused on his practice as a Stoic philosopher.
Very good.
One of the things I read it several years ago, and the thing that I really remember is that he's known for his martial ability to wage war, but he was also known for his tremendous mercy. And one of his generals fomented a rebellion while he was battling the barbarians and tried to overthrow him. And Marcus very famously rushed to see this man to show him mercy. And it was shocking to people because, you know, a good Roman emperor would execute a traitor, but he was such an understanding soul and wanted to show mercy and wanted reconciliation.
Well, this is it. This is thank you. This is the thing about the spiritually advanced. They manifest the divine attributes. They manifest the divine attributes. They have left behind the lower self in the sense of practicing its ways and being. They have manifested the divinity within to the degree that they manifest the divine attributes. And of course, one of the great attributes of the divine is mercy. Christ was known for it. Sri Chaitanya was known for it. Sri Ramakrishna was known for it. Thank you. Anything?
Brother, it's
Yes, Raji.
not exactly related, but somehow it's related in my mind. Is there any difference? What is the difference between freedom from desire and mastery over desire?
Well, mastery of desire is freedom from desire. Freedom from desire comes from manifesting the higher attributes and not repressing or rejecting desire, but simply understanding that it is nothing more, as Swami Prabhavananda said, that a desire is nothing more than a restlessness of the mind. Why is the mind restless? Because it wants to be distracted from the truth. Because if you confront the truth, if the truth overwhelms you, as we're told that this is what happens when finally the realization comes, it overwhelms you. There's no way around it. There's no longer any way to distract yourself enough that it doesn't overwhelm you. But in the meantime, we want to be distracted from that so that we can continue to play the game. The mastery comes when you see this and you simply look at this restlessness of the mind and say, all right, I want to be distracted. Let me be distracted in a higher way. Let me find a higher way to be distracted so that I don't continue to practice these things that I have learned are essentially fruitless and meaningless. So let me see if I can't find a way to be distracted. And this is what Patanjali says. And this is the very systematic way in Raja Yoga. In Jnana Yoga, one simply, the technique is to ignore the desires, to ignore everything of the manifest universe. And as a result, the mind is dissolved in its ability to, if you really practice that with the fierceness necessary, but very few have the strength of mind to do this. Very few. If you wish to read about this in a very sweet and condensed way, read Swami Sarvadevananda's translation and commentary on something called Nectar of Supreme Knowledge. It's a book that was published by the Ramakrishna Order nectar of supreme knowledge. And it is a condensation, not by Sarvadevananda, but by another monk of the Ramakrishna order, of Vashishta's 30,000 shlokas spoken to Sri Rama to instruct him in the nature of reality. Nectar of supreme knowledge. So we replace the lower samskaras with the higher samskaras, the lower distractions with the higher distractions, until finally we run out of the ability to distract ourselves. We've become so close to the truth that it breaks through and overwhelms us. And it is this, as was said at the very beginning, it is satyagraha, the insistence on the highest truth, that finally disenables the mind from being able to focus itself seriously on anything lesser that does not deserve its attention. It doesn't mean we don't go on with our ordinary lives. As Sri Ramakrishna said, even the most skilled singer cannot keep her voice always on the highest note. So we return to whatever is our version of our ordinary awareness. But our experience of these higher and higher truths transforms it. So there's less suffering, more joy. And when we do experience suffering, we relate to it differently, as Tom Carr was talking about very early on in our conversation. Anything else from anyone? All right, let me read that poem by Renier.
Brother,
Yes.
I had something real quick. The
No,
thing is, when
you don't have to be quick, Gaurav. Just
okay. The thing that I've noticed is the more you meditate and more you meditate on any of, like, I don't know, like mother, you tend to start, I would say, controlling your desires way better. Means the basic desires, means if something happens that's not going well with you, you just say it's God's plan. Means you automatically think that way, that mother wants this to happen and hence it's happening.
Well, this is called the kitten awareness. The kitten,
Yeah.
You behave as a kitten. A kitten does not question. The mother picks it up and puts it here. That's where the mother has put it, because the mother thinks that's best. And that Sri Ramakrishna says there's two ways of being. You can have the monkey mind, or you can have the kitten mind. The kitten mind is much more auspicious, but it takes a lot of practice to stop being the monkey mind of deciding for yourself what's best and what's not, and then taking a fall and hurting yourself.
Yeah, that's something I experienced, and I was sharing.
Thank you, Gaurav. Well, and very well said. So you were speaking was the kitten awareness. Whatever the mother wills, we accept it, as a kitten accepts being picked up and put sometimes on the bed, sometimes on the hearth, sometimes wherever mother wills, and accepting that it's mother taking the initiative. We don't take the initiative. Thank you, Gaurav. Anyone else? Anything?
Thank you, brother.
I have a comment about what you were just talking about, the monkey and the kitten. That I think it would be as difficult to maintain the kitten mind as it is to be a jnani. I mean, they're different yogas, but I mentioned this to you recently. We were talking about this, that sometimes you have to be the lion mind.
Yes.
If you mostly want to stay in that kitten mode, it's God's plan, it's mother's will, it's whatever. It's the way the universe wants it to go. It can be very freeing to be that kitten, but you can't be that as a human being. You can't be that kitten all the time, and you have to use your discrimination.
Yes.
Like, is this situation that's in front of me right now calling for lion mind, or is my monkey mind just telling me that?
Mhm.
But there are genuinely times when we need to be the adult big cat,
Yes, no question.
and most of the time we don't. So it's discrimination is very important.
It
here.
is principle number one of jnana, of advaita Vedanta, discrimination. Discrimination, and then release, renunciation of that which is not auspicious for us, that which does not deserve our attention. Very well said, Cindy. Sometimes we have to be the lion. It is, life is not simple, and it is to be the kitten always. As Sri Ramakrishna says, even the most skilled singer cannot keep her voice always on the highest note.
Brother, whatever the animal you choose, there is always the mother. For lion, there is Durga. I think it's tiger or lion, but
Both, yeah. She's represented with both.
So this is a sort of a, I from my contemplation, I was wondering, like, there's so many different forms of the divine. I mean, all across the world, but even in sort of Hinduism or Sanatana Dharma, there's so many forms. And I was trying to find out, how do you understand the inner core? And I something was telling me you cannot really understand that, but what you can understand is the, they call it vahana, or the vehicle. And it's like the animal. So when Durga is shown sitting on some animal, like the tiger or lion, or sometimes Vishnu is shown sitting on Garuda. Rama, actually, it's Hanumana. I feel, although it's not very clear, but I think we can understand the Vahana. And maybe I think sometimes I felt that maybe we are not even eligible to focus on the divine. We must focus on the Vahana, or at least I must focus on the Vahana. And I was wondering, what is the Vahana of Sri Ramakrishna?
Oh, there's reason to believe it's a cat, but it's not been established. But if you look at it over his life and Holy Mother's life, it looks like a cat, simple domestic house cat. If we have to remember, Ganesha's is a mouse, and so this is. It's difficult for us to understand, as you say. But Sri Ramakrishna said all the forms of the divine, all of the forms of the divine. The formless takes form in all of these forms in response to the love, the cooling, he said, the cooling condition of the devotee's love causes this form of the divine to manifest itself. So and then when knowledge dawns, all of the forms disappear and only the formless remains. This is the final stage of Advaita Vedanta. One and one only. God alone is real. God alone is the door.
Like, brother, one thing, like if you look up at the night sky, you see the stars and the nothingness. There is a peace about it.
Yes.
I think that is the characteristic of the infinite. So that is the divine.
Yes, absolutely the case. And just what the astronomers, our astrophysicists will tell us is that the nothingness is not nothing at all. It is all potential. It is all potential for somethingness.
Absolutely.
There is no place where there is no thingness. It may be in potential form, subtle form, but there is. And the great spiritual philosopher, Vedantist, and astrophysicist John Dobson actually had a button made because he taught these things very artfully. And he would give away this big button. And on the button, it would say, nothing doesn't exist. Nothing doesn't exist.
Yeah. That is our objective mind, which makes it believe there's nothing. But yeah, it's a different
Yes, exactly.
realm. Yeah.
Precisely. All right, Gaurav, thank you. Well, it's noon. I am so always joyous that we come together this way. And I'll close with our regular closing prayer. Let there be peace in outer space. Let there be peace in the sky, on the earth, and in the waters. Let there be peace in the herbs, the plants, and the trees. May the gods be peaceful. May the whole universe be pervaded by peace. Let that infinite universal peace prevail throughout my being. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Peace, peace. Peace and beneficence be unto us and to all beloved beings everywhere. Jai Shri Guru Maharaj Ji Ki Jai. Durga, Durga, Durga. May we be safe. May we be healthy. May we be cheerful. May we have peace of mind. May we be always, and know we are always, in the loving and protective embrace of the Divine Being as our Mother and Father. So with that, any final thoughts from anyone? Anyone else have anything they would like to say?
Yes, I have something I'd like to add to that last little subject that we were talking about.
Yes, Rob.
The monkey mind and the kitten mind.
Yes.
I found that if you can be really objective with yourself, because the monkey mind really appears when we think we know.
Yes, exactly.
If you can be really objective with yourself and really recognize that you don't know as much as you think you know sometimes.
Yes.
And you're willing to back off of that, then it comes kind of easy to step down from the monkey mind a bit.
Thank you, Robert. There's a great aphorism by the saintly and powerful Jewish mystic, the Baal Shem Tov. He said, "It is the achievement of a lifetime to come to the understanding that you are common and unlearned." That, as Robert said, we don't know very much. This limited human mind we have, marvelous as it is, the mind part of us, the left brain awareness, very limited. The heart mind, the reflection of the divine within us is unlimited and knows itself to be completely unified, completely fluid and free. One of the ways you can read about this is in Jill Bolte Taylor's book, My Stroke of Insight. And this great teacher now, Jill Bolte Taylor, if you ask her who she is, and I've heard her interviewed, if you ask her who she is, she says, "I am a being," verb, "I am a being as big as the universe. And that she means it from knowledge. She has had the experience of that. You can read about how and why in her book, My Stroke of Insight. Thank you.
And brother, on that same note, I've realized I know nothing. and like Swami Vivekananda said, you can read 1,000,000 books. You can reason it as much as you want to do, but at the end of the day, you don't know anything about it by reading. You got to acquire it, and it's a different.
Well, you
it's
have
extremely humbling.
You have to turn within. And what you learn when you go within cannot be put into words.
Not like Sri Ramakrishna didn't go to a university, and
No.
neither I don't think Christ did. Or
No, he certainly
doesn't matter.
So
it's humbling.
Yes. Anything else, dears? All right. With that, we'll say farewell until Tuesday if you choose to join us.
Yes. Take care, brother.
Everything
Thank you.
seems to be going forward now. So blessings, blessings, blessings on us all.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye, dears.